We're going to get it done. You know, I said from the beginning, let Obamacare implode and then do it. I turned out to be right. Let Obamacare implode.
President Trump there threatening to let the Affordable Care Act go under after Republican senators failed to pass a repeal measure. The president has promised in the past to stop billions of dollars in government payouts to insurance companies, but the move could put the administration on shaky legal ground. Let's bring in Bob Bianchi, criminal defense attorney, former head county prosecutor and trial attorney, and Heather Hansen, also a trial attorney. Thank you guys both for being here.
Pleasure.
Be here.
So kicking things off, we've heard this from the president before. He's talked about bailouts for insurance companies and stopping them, essentially. Is this something that could ultimately get him in legal limbo, Bob?
Yeah, so let's use the proper terms here. It's a subsidy, and what was occurring here and what the argument from the Trump administration and other Republicans are is that Congress did not appropriate the money pursuant to the Constitution in order for these subsidies to be given in order to lower premiums and deductibles. Therefore, they're saying that all this money that's going out there was not congressionally approved. The argument to that is that the money has been designated for that there is now a kind of contract or implied for 4 years that they were allowing this to occur, and you just can't rip it away because it will destroy the law, and the law is the Congress's law. So it really comes down to what the court views as an appropriate appropriation or not an appropriate appropriation, and they've won in the district court in terms of them saying so far that it was not appropriate.
And Heather, bringing you in as well, one of the things that makes this so controversial is that the subsidies actually help some among the lowest income, these cost-sharing reductions as they've been called. So your thoughts on the legal aspect?
You know what, Molly, these lawsuits would be between the insurers and the government, people with plenty of money. There have already been some suits of up to $200 million that the insurers have won. That doesn't help anyone. This is a situation where a lean compromise is better than a fat lawsuit. What has to happen here is the same thing that has to happen what you were talking about before with Senate. There has to be compromise amongst our lawmakers and not going to judges and juries and these huge awards that end up never getting recovered and ultimately not helping the people who need the health care.
Yeah.
And Bob, ultimately, you know, that lawsuits take time, they take money, but could we ultimately see this end up at the Supreme Court?
You could see it at the Supreme Court. In fact, you may see that this moves very quickly in this way, but I agree with Heather completely. You are dealing with people in the process that will die as a result of this disagreement. From a political point of view, no Democrat wants that and no Republican wants it. There's got to be a fix, and my idea is that they're going to fund it congressionally through the appropriations process until this thing can be resolved and these parties can get together and do the right thing.
It's going to the Supreme Court quickly, though, Molly. There's two cases right now, one against the insurers, one for the insurers. In November, that'll be heard by an appellate court. I think the Supreme Court is going to hear this issue or similar issues pretty quickly, as Bob said.
And I would think, too, Molly, that while that's going on, wouldn't you agree with me that I think that what they're going to do is say, we're staying everything. No money's being taken away. No health care is being taken away until we can ultimately decide what's right here.
Now there's an effort in Washington, seeing if the Republicans couldn't get the repeal replace done, to reach across the aisle. I mean, is that a better solution than a lawsuit, a political solution?
Absolutely. Whenever we try cases, I think in our office, we always say a good settlement is better than fighting this out in court. It costs money. It's emotionally hard for everybody involved. This is what our lawmakers are hired to do, is to
yeah, and my viewpoint on that is that for 7 years, people went around talking about how bad the Affordable Care Act was, and now they're politically committed to it. But after this defeat, hopefully they'll come together.
I'm getting rapid. Thank you so much, both of you,
for
your thoughts on this. We appreciate it. John?